Hello majors, good morning. On today's video, you are about to witness the discussion on the introduction of outdoor and adventure education. First, let us define what is outdoor education. When we say outdoor education, these are organized learning that takes place in outdoors. Yes, of course, from its word outdoor education, meaning to say there is learning outside the classroom. Example of outdoor activities are camping, kayaking, rock climbing, and snowboarding, also hiking, also trekking. There are a lot of examples of outdoor activities that you can do. Next, what is the importance of outdoor education? Now, first importance of outdoor education is that outdoor education gives depth to the curriculum and it makes an important contribution, of course, to the students' physical, personal, and social education. That is why outdoor education is important. Also, it allows students to experience a different learning style by being in different environment and using different skills. Now, when we say outdoor education kasi, it gets students physically active because they are moving. Of course, it lets them set their personal goals and of course being with nature outside. And then another one is that students are allowed to socialize outside of the classroom and they improve their communication skills. So that's why outdoor education is really important. We have different branches of outdoor education. We have two. First, we have environmental education and we have adventure education. On the part of environmental education, we will not dig deeper on this one because on our curriculum, on your course, on your subject, we are just going to learn about adventure education. But let us know what is all about environmental education as part of outdoor education. When you say environmental education, it teaches students how the planet's physical and biological systems work and how we can create a more sustainable future out of improving our environment. Because the world we are living is very important, and as we can see, the environment is already degrading. So we need to learn how to preserve our environmental resources, or what we say natural resources. Environmental education teaches individuals how to weigh various sides of an issue through critical thinking, and it enhances their own problem solving and decision making skills. Also, we have the different components of environmental education. First, we have the awareness and sensitivity. This is the first component. Awareness and sensitivity to the environment and of course to the environmental challenges. Of course, we need to be aware and sensitive to what is happening into our environment. Most especially nowadays, marami nang nangyayari. We are experiencing climate change, rapid climate change. Pabago-bago na naman ang panahon. Next component of environmental education is that knowledge and understanding of the environment and environmental challenges. Hindi natin kinakailangan maging aware at sensitive lang sa kung anong nangyayari sa ating kapaligiran. Of course, we need to understand that. We need to understand what is really happening by just simply understanding that there will be attitudes of concern for the environment and motivation to improve or maintain the environmental quality. And then after having now the instincts on how we will improve our environmental quality, there will arise skills to identify and help resolve environmental challenges. And also, for the last component of environmental education, there will be a participation now in the activities that lead to the resolution of environmental challenges. So this is the pattern on how we'll get to know or on how we'll solve the issues when it comes to environmental education. First, you need to be aware and sensitive. Second, you need to know and you need to understand. And then you will formulate now your attitudes of concern, and then you will develop your skills. And then now, after developing that skills, you need to have an active participation on leading the resolution of the environmental challenges. I hope you get it. Now, let us proceed to our main goal in this subject, which is the adventure education. When we say adventure education, according to Maata 2012, adventure education focuses on building self-confidence and leadership qualities through experiential and collaborative learning. That is a very, very self-explanatory definition of adventure education. When we say adventure learning, it occurs outdoors, of course, incorporating extreme conditions and online through expedition activities. Next, it combines experiential learning with decision making, team building, and the application of real-world situations to the learning environment. That is also according to Maata in year 2012. Now, we also have the different components of adventure education. First, we need to have independence and personal responsibility. We need to be independent kasi you're going to experience outdoor activities, and then there are activities na hindi mo kinakailangang maging or dumepende sa mga kasama mo. Kailangan mo tumayo sa sarili mong mga paa. And then you need to be responsible on yourself. You need to take care of yourself kasi since that is an outdoor activity, hindi mo i-expect na magkakaroon ka ng kasama when the time comes na nagkaroon ng problem. Ang mas nakakaalam at mas makaka-take care sa sarili mo ay ang sarili mo mismo. So that's why when you do outdoor education or when we do outdoor activities, we need to have a personal responsibility. Next, simplicity. We need to be very, very simple. Hindi mo naman kinakailangan maging masosyal, maging bongga when it comes to having outdoor activities. And then of course, you need to be creative. Creativity is one thing na hindi dapat nawawala sa atin, most especially kapag nasa wild tayo. Kasi we need to be creative. There are instances kasi na mag-a-appear na kailangan mo maging creative on how to deal that situation. Maaaring hindi mo ina-expect na ito yung mangyayari, kaya you need to be creative on how you will deal with that. Next, ownership. You need to own whatever you do. Ano man ang ginawa mo, kung ano yung maging result ng ginawa mo, you own it. Kasi ikaw mismo ang gumawa dyan. Are we clear? Next, concern, fairness, empathy, and openness. So, when kanina sa personal responsibility and independence, it doesn't mean na you will live alone because as the cliche says, no man is an island. So, we need also to be open and we need to practice empathy. We should try to put ourselves into the shoes of others. Kasi para ma-experience din natin kung ano talaga yung na-experience ng iba. Next, adventure education is a self-directed learning. And it needs also cooperation and teamwork, yes, of course. Most especially if you will do group dynamics or group activities when you were now in the wild. So, it needs cooperation and teamwork, hindi yan nawawala. Next, you need to have interactivity. You need to socialize. You need to interact to your teammates. You need to socialize to the one who is with you when you are going to the wild. Next, one basic component of adventure education hindi nawawala. It is a physical activity. Since this is an experiential learning activity, all your body movements are required to move and all your body parts are being utilized. That's why this is now a physical activity. Now, adventure education also requires positive reinforcement. These components are based from Pani Susi in year 2002. There are different essential practices of adventure education. There are 4. First, we have the experiential learning cycle. And second, we have the full value contract. We also have the challenge by choice. We also have the last one, the last practice. It is the process, not outcome-based curriculum model. When we say experiential learning cycle, there is learning is the process whereby knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. That is according to David A. Kolb's, based on his Kolb's cycle of experiential learning. As you can see in the graph, experiential learning cycle as the essential practice in adventure education, meaning to say, outdoor education is all about experiencing. Students learn from experiencing different things, whether it is making tough decisions, overcoming fears, trying things that they thought they would never try before. Now, there are types of experiential learners, and that is what Kolb's cycle experiential learning represents. First, according to the cycle, we have the concrete experience. When we say concrete experience, these are now the activists. They prefer doing and experiencing. After the concrete experience, the arrow pointed the reflective observation. When we say reflective observation, these are now the reflectors. When we say the reflectors, they just observes and reflects. They observe and reflects to what they do and experience from the concrete experience level of Kolb's cycle. Next, after the reflective observation, we have the abstract conceptualization. These are now the theorists na tinatawag. They want to understand underlying reasons, concepts, and relationships in doing such experiential learning activities. And then right after the abstract conceptualization, we now move to active experimentation. When we say active experimentation, it is also called the transfer to new situations. Meaning to say, these are now the pragmatist type of humans. They likes to have a go. Meaning to say, they try things to see if they really work. That's why they experiment. So since this is a cycle, after experimenting, if that experiential learning activity really works, it will go back again to concrete experience, and so on and so on. Patuloy lang siya sa pag-ikot. That's why it is a cycle. Next, we have the full value contract. When you say full value contract, you need guidelines for what is expected from students during class, during outdoor education class. Next, we need to have written by students and teacher together. We are talking about the contract. Now, next also, it gives students some responsibility, of course. And then its students help make the rules so they will be more likely to follow them. Another essential practice on outdoor adventure education is a challenge by choice. A challenge by choice is that coaxing young people into doing a difficult task or element teaches them only that they can be talked into doing something. On the other hand, helping students to see that they have the right and ability to choose their level of challenge and how to assess what is and isn't an appropriate level of challenge teaches them how to make positive decisions for life. That is a challenge by choice according to Panisusi in year 2002. Now, when we say challenge by choice as an essential practice of adventure education, it doesn't mean that students can opt out of doing activities because they have chosen not to do it. They assume that students will work safely in their stretch zone na tinatawag. And they avoid situations that will put the student into their panic zone. That is the challenge by choice. And also, you as future educators, we keep challenge by choice in mind in their adventure work that will have more successes than having the attitude that everyone will do everything. Nakuha. Now, we proceed to the benefits of adventure education. We also have the benefits of it. Ano nga ba yung mga kukuha nating benefits? Of course, we have the interpersonal skills. We would be able to develop our interpersonal skills. You will be able to develop trust, teamwork, effective communication, and of course, cooperation. You would also be able to develop or enhance your intrapersonal skills. When we say intrapersonal skills, this includes your leadership skills, decision-making skills, and it enhances also your self-confidence. Now, there are activities included in adventure education. First, we have problem-solving activities. We have ropes course. We have initiatives. We have team building activities, which you usually do. We also have, these are adventure activities from Headrush Outbound in year 2012. But if we were not going to follow the idea of the Headrush Outbound in the year 2012, there are a lot of activities included in adventure education. And I'm giving it as your task to look for the different activities in adventure education. Read some other activities that you can do in outdoor education. Now, there is confusion between outdoor education and adventure education. Ano nga ba? When you say outdoor education, these are outdoors. Adventure education is also an outdoor education because adventure education is based on team building, or it is more on team building activities, but it can also be done outdoors. There are also adventure education that can be done also inside. Limited lang kasi siya. But most of adventure education activities kasi ay done outside. Kaya it is under outdoor education. Now, let us reflect your role as a teacher because you will be soon future educators. Now, what is your role when doing adventure education? Of course, enforce safety and rules. Spotting and all other safety areas. Spotting meaning to say you are, what do you call this? You are, inaalalayan mo yung estudyante mo when doing such activities in outdoor education. Number one na role natin na teacher, we must enforce safety and we must provide rules and regulations para guided ang ating mga students. Next, be a problem presenter, not a problem solver. Kasi there is an activity into adventure education that number one, kung maalala nyo kanina, we have the problem solving activities. So in order for you to let your learners develop their decision making skill on how they solve problems, be a problem presenter. Do not solve the problem. If ever na maka-encounter kayo ng mga problema upon doing such outdoor and adventure activities, Do not solve the problem. Let them let them it let the students solve the problem by their own. Modify the challenge if it is too easy or hard for the students. Now, if it happens na wala namang problem na encounter and you will be going to give a problem to your students, then you need to consider the easiness and the hardness of the problem. Kung kanino magsusut yung problem na ibibigay mo. Next, another role of the teacher is to encourage. Yes, encourage your students, encourage them to actively participate, encourage them to appreciate what they are doing so that they would be able to apply it in their real life situations they would be able to apply it in their real life situations. Next, you create atmosphere so all students feel comfortable to participate. Yes, that is a very essential role of the teacher. Let your learners feel that they belong to the group. That they belong to the group and they are comfortable in learning. Dapat yan yung isa sa mga naibibigay natin na mga services sa ating mga students, not just in adventure education, but of course when the time comes that you will be going to teach in the academy. We have the value of the model. What will the students will gain? Of course, students will gain leadership skills. The students will gain self-confidence. The students will gain teamwork skills. And of course, the students will gain decision-making skills. That is very basic. Now, for the unique contribution, it allows the students to get away from the normal classroom environment. Kasi, since this is an outdoor education, meaning to say, you are outside the classroom, the physical classroom itself. So, malaking bagay yon sa mga estudyante kasi there are students that learning by just simply doing what is being taught. Hindi lang tayo puro theory. Dapat na-experience din ng bata kung ano yung mga pinagsasabi natin sa classroom. Yes, of example, diniscuss mo sa loob ng classroom kung paano ang hiking. Do you think maiintindihan kaya nila yon nang binabasa lang nila? So why not ipa-experience natin sa kanila kung paano yung hiking? Siguro mas maintindihan pa nila and they would be able to reflect kung ano yung natutunan nila upon doing that. So, on that simple way, mas naipaintindi natin sa mga bata kung anong ibig sabihin ng activity na gusto nating ipagawa. And then, for the unique contribution also, it might draw more enthusiasm out of the students with the change in the environment. To the connection to the standards 5 and 6 are the major focus of it. These are the NH guidelines 6 and 5. It intended of standard 5 is to develop self-initiated behaviors to promote personal and group success. Now, to sum up the connection to standards, it emphasized on personal and social behavior. It also emphasized on the respect, on the challenge, on the self-expression, and the social interaction of the students or the adventure learners. Now, how are you going to assess now your students if it happens that you will become now a future adventure learner or adventure teacher or adventure educator? Of course, these are some assessment methods that you would do. First, the standard 6. We have under the standard 6 the group processing. We have the students having or the students creating their own initiative. Next, we also have the, what do you call this, portfolio. We have in the portfolio, this may be the daily logs, the physical or emotional goals of the students or the learners. and of course it includes the evaluation of their effort. Also, for the informal type of assessment, also it includes group processing or debriefing. For our concluding thought, we feel this model or this kind of learning as a very important one to keep a healthy learning environment, because self-discovery and building communication skills is important for the class as well. Trust, respect, and teamwork also helps for the class climate. We would include this type of learning activity or this model in our curriculum because of these positive listed positivities or the positive things that it offers listed above the presentation. Are we clear with that? Thank you. And then these are the references. These are my references. I think that's the end of my presentation. Good day, majors. Goodbye. See you and your next report.